I firmly believe that the culture is about to swing back in a major way. Meanness, power for power's sake, with nothing underlying it besides cruelty. That won politically last year. This vision of the future where might makes right, and we're going to round up immigrants, and we're going to make fun of the less fortunate. We're going to punch down relentlessly. That's going away. All the purveyors of this mentality, all these podcast bros that enabled Trump's rise among Gen Z, the polling is already going in the opposite direction. Young men can smell that this is bullshit, that this administration, that the people holding power right now offer them nothing. So here comes the left. And I don't mean the Chuck Schumers and Hakeem Jeffries. I mean community organizers and people with an actual message out there. They're going to come back so hard and actually tell them that they don't have to be afraid, right? They can stand up to this bullying and they can find community and meaning through that. And we can fight for a better world. Because the vision currently on offer is you either fuck people over or you're fucked for the rest of your life. So you can either join ICE or become a banker or die in the street. And this is not appealing. And I don't know, man. It's just, they didn't win. They won, but what did they win? We can stand up to them. And we can show people, especially young people, that there is a better way forward. And it starts with being brave and confronting power head on.
I've had this video saved for several days and I keep going back and rewatching it because I think it's so good. Performative meanness, cruelty, and brutality for brutality's sake. I don't think your average decent person has an appetite for that. I don't think that the average American wants to live in a country where we are told we have to fight our neighbors, where we have to be at war with people that we go to work with our family members. I don't think that the average American has an appetite for civil war, and that is what Donald Trump is desperately trying to fabricate, because he doesn't want us to gain class consciousness. He doesn't want us to dream of a better America. He wants us enraged all of the time. He wants our cortisol levels through the fucking roof, and he wants us angry at our neighbor, ready to hurt our neighbor. All of the rhetoric from the right around political violence, all of the lies that they're trying to feed us, I just think your average person is not going to buy it. Yeah, there's a handful of really angry, dysregulated MAGA hats who are in a cult and will do whatever Daddy Donald wants. But I completely agree with this video. We don't want to live in a society where we are constantly at war. We don't want to live in a society where we are told that hate, violence, grievance is the name of the game. That's not what the American dream is about. I know that there's a lot of nihilistic young men who are going down that 4chan pipeline, right? They don't even see it as left versus right. They're off way over here in a completely different paradigm. But even if we look at people who voted for Donald Trump, y'all, I'm sorry. I cannot believe that the majority of people who voted for Donald Trump want a society that matches Donald Trump and Russell Vought and Stephen Miller's vision. That's not a hopeful vision for the future. That's not something that people want to fight and die for. That's not something that people want to organize for and support. That's not something that's going to motivate people to turn up and vote. Donald Trump ran on Make America Great Again. And he lied to so many conservative voters, especially white folks in rural areas that were struggling, and suburbs too. But in so many communities, in places where folks had historically voted for Democrats, right? Union folks, salt of the earth, working class Americans voted for Donald Trump because they did not have a good quality of life. They were not doing well. They were struggling as the oligarchy became stronger and stronger in this country, as more and more of what we hoped for ourselves and our children was denied us, as more and more of the wealth of this nation was consolidated amongst the super rich, and we all struggled harder and harder. We're struggling far, far harder now. But Donald Trump came in and said, yeah, Joe Biden tells you you're doing fine. You know you're not doing fine. I know you're not doing fine. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make America great again. That was a compelling narrative, right? We don't necessarily see the left having a compelling narrative. And I want to get to Zoran Mamdani in a second, because I think there are people on the political left who do have a vision and are really good at communicating to working class Americans. This is what you deserve. This is what you can hope for. This is what we can build together. But we didn't really have that from the Democratic Party. We had Donald Trump saying he would make America great again. A simple, easy slogan, a vision that every working class person could imbue with their own meaning. But now we are watching the country get actively worse. We are watching millions of Americans lose their health care. We are watching hundreds of hospitals being shut down. We are watching the economy in the toilet. We're watching jobs numbers be horrifically bad. What is it, like 32,000 jobs that the American people lost last month? We're looking at tariffs. We're looking at our grocery prices getting higher and higher. We're looking at landlords exploiting all of us and hiking up rent. We're looking at CEOs and corporations becoming richer and richer and richer while we struggle harder and harder. America is not becoming great under Donald Trump. It's becoming actively worse. So that slogan that he ran on, it's falling flat. It's no longer true. And what we're hearing from the regime is this push for violence, grievance, division, civil war. That's the narrative that they're putting forth now, right? Like that creator said, meanness for meanness's sake. Hate for no reason, indiscriminate hate, wanting to turn neighbor against neighbor, desperately trying to do anything to prevent the American working class from gaining class consciousness, desperate to keep us fighting amongst ourselves. That's not a hopeful vision for the future. That's not a compelling narrative that the American people are going to want to hold on to. That is exhausting. That's wearying. And I don't think that we have an appetite for it as a nation. The poll numbers reflect that fact. So this is where I want to pivot and talk about Zohran Mamdani and other folks who are progressive or DSA, Working Families Party, who put forth a compelling vision for the American people that is not a bunch of lies like Donald Trump. When Donald Trump said, make America great again, he meant just for himself and the billionaires. That's it. He meant just for himself and his fellow grifters. He wanted cronyism, corruption. He lied and said that they would end waste, fraud, and abuse, but we are looking at extreme, ridiculous, outright, in-your-face corruption. Billions and billions and billions of our tax dollars being wasted, the super rich getting far richer, and we're struggling far harder. And Donald Trump says, don't think about the grocery prices. Don't think about the fact that you might get laid off. Don't think about your rent going up. Don't think about how you can't get student loans for your kid anymore because Republicans put a cap on that. Just hate your neighbor. Just hate immigrants who are growing your food and putting a new roof on your house. Hate those folks. Commit violence against them. That's what the regime is telling us. And so when we see people on the political left like Zohran Mamdani who are like, actually, you deserve a good future. Working class people deserve to be able to afford to put their kids through school. Y'all deserve universal health care. You deserve a government that works for you, the people, and not for the billionaires, not for corporations. You deserve to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Here's all the things we could have for you, working class America. Here's all of the things that we could create together. Look at this beautiful vision for the future that we all deserve. Why is it that the Republicans want to deprive us of any quality of life? Why is it that the billionaires want us to struggle harder and harder when they have more money than they could spend in 10 or 100 lifetimes? Why are we going on like this? We could have so much more. So I completely agree with this creator. I think we're going through a crucible now, and there is the potential for us to come out of it on the other side, having gained class consciousness, having an appetite for, a desire for, an earnestness to create an America that works for working class people, to create an America where we all get to be our authentic selves, we get to run our lives, we get to pursue joy and comfort, we get to have health care, we get to not struggle so hard. We could have all of that. We're the wealthiest nation on earth. We have to have something worth fighting for, not just fighting against our neighbors. So I think there's this window here. We've got this window where the regime is saying, hate your neighbor, fight against your neighbor. Your fellow Americans are the enemy. We want to put the military in your cities and turn American citizens against American citizens. We want there to be terror and fear and coercion and control everywhere. Those aren't visions that the American people want to fight for. Instead, we get a chance here. Donald Trump lied. He promised greatness, he promised prosperity, and he's not bringing it for the American people. And we get a chance to tell them the truth. We get a chance to tell them, here's the programs that we could have. Here's what we could fund. Your government could work for you. You don't deserve to struggle so hard. It's needless. There's no reason. There's more than enough to go around in this country if the super rich pay their fair share. Why is it that they want us fighting amongst ourselves for the scraps? Right? Let's dream bigger together. We, the regular people of this country. What is it that would give us a good quality of life? What is it that we can fight for? Instead of being told that we have to fight against our fellow Americans and live in a literal war zone. We don't want that. We don't need that. We don't deserve that. I think we've got a real chance here to get control of the narrative and help our neighbors understand what we could have and can bring about.